My name is Taylor Tilford. I am an art educator in my second year of teaching. I have learned a lot about mastering authority from this course. The first thing with mastering discipline authority is that I always come to work with a smile on my face and try to see it as a new day. The very first step it takes in order to actually master discipline authority is classroom organization. You need to have an inviting, positive classroom, have it clean and organized, be prepared and set up for every lesson beforehand, set a daily routine with your students, and properly give the rules and post them. You also need to explain the consequences to them and post them as well onto your wall so they can see it daily. Some strategies I found is that building a positive relationship with parents, administrators, coworkers, and students is extremely important. If I do not try my hardest to understand, get to know, and love each and every one of my students, they won't respect me. I also value communication. I need to communicate the rules properly. I need to see how my students are feeling, why they're lashing out. I need to talk to parents about things going on at home, and definitely contacting administrators about any problems that I ever face on a daily basis. I also need to keep the lessons interesting and engage with my students on what they want to do on a daily basis, whether that is an art project that has to do with their likes or their dislikes. And if I don't do this, I found that they most likely will misbehave. Difficulties. Some difficulties I face as an art educator is that I really have a lot less time with them as normal, regular educators have. The kids are also super, super excited to be in art, so they tend to be a little rowdy, talkative. It's kind of like their free time. I also have so many different students, and it's really hard to get to know them really, really well. My classroom is inviting. It's a place for my students to be themselves. It's a happy place. The way I keep it organized is that I have color-coded jobs for each student. I have a helper of the day, and my materials are always neat and organized, especially in the art room because there's plenty of different materials that the kids could get into if they were not put away safely. Some positive feedback. I always try and keep it positive in my classroom. So if the kids are acting really, really well that day, and if they're being quiet for me, I usually have the first 5 minutes of class super duper quiet and for me to get over my lesson, and then they know that they have a little bit of free time and free will to talk during their project time. And then towards the end, I always have them line up, and that's how they get out. And they usually have a treat at the door, or I give out candy, and the class earns a chain. I will go over the gain chain in just a few moments. But on the daily, I usually give them the choice to play music during their project time. Sometimes the last 5 minutes, if they've been really good, we play Pictionary. And then monthly, they always receive a fun day due to their gain chain. In order to fulfill my students when they're being negative and when they have something going on, I usually try and communicate with them and see what's going wrong with them and why they are misbehaving. I have a bag at the door, and it's called Leave Their Baggage at the Door. If a student just seems upset and doesn't seem like they really want to participate, I usually tell them to go write down what they're feeling and what they're upset about that day, and then they throw it away. And it's pretty much just an incentive for them to be able to write out how they feel, and then they know to leave whatever negative energy they have at the door so they can be positive in the art room. As far as individual punishments, I usually give warnings. They receive 3 strikes a month, which will depend on their fun day then. If they end up getting 3 strikes, that usually means that they have to sit out for fun day and write the rules. I have a think about it chair if it's just something small. If it's a little bit bigger than that, I usually, like type B behavior, I usually talk to the teacher afterwards, see if something's going on at home. If they don't know, I usually call the parent, or if it gets pretty bad, I end up contacting the administrator. As far as class goes and having negative punishments for them, they usually lose a chain with their gain chain. So if they aren't being quiet altogether, a majority of them are not listening. They also lose their music privilege that day during project time. And then I go over the rules, and if it's decently bad. If they're all just being crazy, I usually have them all write the rules for a whole class time. So to recap, the main thing in order to be a successful teacher and master discipline authority is researching new strategies all of the time, addressing classroom management, and having a set plan with how your classroom layout is. That could be with furniture, that could be certain different groupings or seating charts. I also know that building positive relationships is extremely important, and then you have to know what to do when the misbehavior does occur. I found a quote from Anita Woolfolk Hoy, which I really appreciated, and she said, "One reason that the discipline had not realized its potential for effective applications could be traced to the lack of research on the problems of classroom teaching." Just as any other educator knows, researching things really helps. That's why this project has really helped me in order to become a better teacher than I was my first year. And I found that as I researched throughout this project and in this class, I have learned a lot of different new strategies. So pretty much being the best educator you can be, you pretty much just have to always be willing to change what's not working, always be willing to do the best that you can, and always be willing to go into the classroom with a positive mindset. Here's my works cited. I found various articles if anybody wants to look into them in order to find other discipline authorities. Thanks for listening.